Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Ricky.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Kumaran. How are you doing?
I'm doing very fine, thank you. And honestly, thank you for taking the time to meet me on a Saturday afternoon to run through
Pleasure.
the entire program with you. So thank you, Mr. Ricky, for coming on board with us for Your Voice, Your Legacy. We had an earlier initial discussion about the project, what we were trying to achieve with the project. And just to amplify a bit more about it, the Your Voice, Your Legacy project is where we connect with insurance industry professionals, pioneers, peers, and colleagues who have contributed so much to the industry that we have come to love. And this entire program covers through their narrative, who they are as individuals, as people, what triggered their interest to join this insurance industry, and their journey so far, as well as important wisdoms and values and thoughts that they can share with the insurance collective community. So once again, thank you, Mr. Ricky, for coming on board with us.
Sure, no problem. Pleasure.
Thank you. So let's start off, Mr. Ricky. Please do tell us a bit more about yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Kumaran. Look, I was born in Bandung in West Java back in 1975, so that gives you an idea of how old I am. I enjoy music. And back in the day, I guess in high school, university, used to jam a bit with my friends and play a few gigs every now and then. And you probably can see the guitars behind me in my home office here. And I'm ambitious, I guess, and I love a challenge and I love making things happen. So when I see challenges, I see an opportunity for how to create something, how to improve something. And I'm always motivated when I see people successful, because behind that success, we often see and hear stories of how people have become successful, how they made it happen. But people don't see that behind that is the blood, sweat, and tears, and the efforts, the endless nights, and you know, all the struggles that you get to that point. So I'm a great believer in commitment, dedication, and consistency and discipline to take you forward. And I think that's something that I've always valued and something that I hold close to me in my day-to-day and also in my professional career. I love soccer, football. I used to play soccer back in high school and college days, and every now and then just kick the ball around with my boys, so just to keep fit a little bit. And yeah, enjoy music, and I'm an automotive enthusiast, so I like I had a hobby back in high school where I used to I bought my first car and then, you know, built it up and really changed, modified it, and then it became a bit of a hobby, and then sold it off for a little bit more money than I bought it for. And so yeah, and so even now I just now like to go to car shows and have a look at the new developments and that sort of things. Yeah.
Wow, that's a very interesting personal story for you to come into it. Now, tell me then, Mr. Ricky, how does that lead to your journey into the insurance industry, and what do you do right now?
Yeah, basically, I was brought into Australia. My parents migrated when I was 10 months old, so back in the 70s. And so I basically did all my education there. I lived 25 years in Australia, everything from elementary school through the college days. And I'm actually a civil engineer by qualification. And I spent a few years working with the local government as a civil stormwater engineer, and then moved to the private sector a couple of years after that as a civil designer. So I was managing designs and projects for private sector. And then in 97, September 97, I started my own little business, a consulting firm. I thought I'd try my luck in starting my own consulting firm, a business management firm. And as it turned out, a year and a half later, I teamed up, got a contract with an large Australian consulting firm, and we won a contract in 99 to service the coal mining industry in Indonesia. And that's how I started coming back home. And this was just at the tail end of the Indonesian economic crisis, where former President Suharto lost his regime, and Indonesia was in a bit of a chaos, right? So, but I saw a lot of opportunity at the time, and that contract in the coal mining industry, where we were doing management consulting, how to improve companies' efficiencies, operating systems, and bring back productivity and profitability. And that was a 6-month contract, flying in and out of Jakarta, Kalimantan, back to Sydney. And it was a great experience. And from that moment on, I saw, wow, there's a lot of opportunity in Indonesia. Indonesia's sort of rebuilding and we're coming back. And I thought, well, I think I'll make the decision to stay in Indonesia. And through networks and contacts, started to develop some businesses. And as it turns out, a year later, I met my wife in Indonesia. So I got married, and then as the story says, I'm now here permanently I've got family, kids. So, and from that experience in the consulting of the mining company, I then was appointed with some other companies as president director, and served on boards of other companies. And the last company before I joined insurance was another Australian company. They'd won a contract to the rehabilitation services for a gold mine in Kalimantan, and I was appointed the commissioner of that company. And because we just secured financing to get the heavy equipment on board, and of course it needed insurance and whatnot, and the whole operations and the projects need to be covered. And because of that, I sort of sourced around contacts in the insurance industry in Indonesia, and we ended up sort of connecting with the Willis insurance brokers. And from then on, they started to see I had a lot of connections in mining and engineering, and they actually offered me a potential job and said, look, we're looking for a director of construction risk and aviation risk for Indonesia. And I said, well, really? Okay, let me help you find somebody. And said, oh, no, we're interested in you because you've got contacts in engineering and mining. And I said, yeah, but I'm not a construction engineer in terms of insurance related products and stuff. So I very, basically, motor vehicle, some property and medical and that. And said, no, we'll train you. It's an opportunity for you to learn the insurance industry, and we'll send you to London and train with our guys there and go to Lloyd's. And that sort of pricked my interest. And I said, whoa, okay. And I'm the type of guy that likes to learn. My father always said to me, never stop learning, because money will always run out, and you'll never run out of opportunities if you've got the right qualifications and certifications and training. That'll hold you in good stead for future careers and professions. So I thought, okay, what do I have to do? They said, just look, submit your CV and we'll send it off to our regional guys and get London to review it. And if they like you, they'll interview you and they'll come down and whatnot. So to cut a long story short, a couple of weeks later, they interviewed me. The regional guys came down and said, hey, we like you, and when can you start? I said, whoa, that's pretty quick. So I ended up joining Willis in February 2006, and as they promised, they sent me to London. So I trained up with all the Willis guys in the UK, spent some time in Lloyd's, and then to Hong Kong. So that was the start of my insurance career, and I can actually say I have not regretted it. That same day, since joining the insurance industry, and it's taken me a lot of places. It's travel around the world, regionally across Southeast Asia, of course domestically, and meeting different people from different professionals, different multidisciplinary industries. So it's been, I think, one of the greatest decisions and moves in my life. And people don't wake up one morning and say, oh, I want to work in the insurance industry, right? So, for me, it was, excuse the cliche, but I came into the insurance industry by accident because of that opportunity that arose, spinning off from that mining project. So, and here I am, 16 years later, still in the insurance industry.
Well, that's such a chance encounter for you to go through from engineering right up to insurance. But that again, how did you end up having so much of passion for the industry? But this obviously was not something that you studied for, and as you said, rightfully, no one wakes up one day and says, I would love to be part of this insurance industry. But you got into it, and how do you sustain that momentum? Because I'm very aware, with all of your activities that you're putting in, you're also a trainer. How do you get that momentum, Mr. Ricky, to run through what you do?
You have to be self-motivated and self-driven. And if you have the belief and the mindset that you're out there to help people, and you're sincere about it, people can see that, people can feel that in you. And I'm very satisfied when I can create a solution for a client or for a corporation, or help them solve an issue that perhaps for a long time or a while they've been sort of busting their brain to work out. And if we can add value, and that's where I think I always position myself, is how can I add value to a company? Because if you compare an insurance company to another insurance company, we're more or less the same products, the same sort of stuff, but it's the people behind that, and how sincere are you to solve a problem? How sincere are you in listening to what they want? You don't just come in and say, oh, I've got this, but understanding what they're trying to develop. It could be that they're trying to expand their factory, or they're trying to sell exports to other countries which have never explored before, or they're trying to implement some new technology. So these are the sorts of things that makes me interested because I love to learn. And if I can be part of their success story, and even if it's only a small part, I mean, insurance is always something like, okay, it's number X on the list of priorities for a lot of companies, right? But if we can make that an interesting part of their business strategy and an important part of the business strategy, because I believe, and it's something, insurance is something that's always been overlooked by other prestigious industries, overshadowed, if I say, unlike banking, finance, IT, telecommunications, energy, or, we've always been overshadowed. But people tend to not realize that, hey, insurance risk management is very important in business. It doesn't matter whether you're a CEO or a CFO, COO, or a small business entrepreneur, you have to understand risk management. And irrespective of whether you buy an insurance policy or not, that's number two. But understanding where the risk lies in your business going forward, and being able to adapt to the different conditions. I mean, look, COVID took us all by surprise, shocked the whole world. Everybody had to change how they operated, how they focused on how they handle their customers, how they handle their back-end operations. So this is very important for companies to understand, and that's what drives me, being able to have a bit of an impact and educate people to realize, oh, okay, that is important. Oh, we overlooked that. Thanks for that. And just by doing that, people say, look, bring that guy back in because he seems to know how he can help us.
Right. And that would also seem in factor when we are taking a look at insurance per se, from a insurance consultant to a client. You're right. The product is not essentially what has to be put at the forefront. It's that genuine expression of what they are trying to do, even financial literacy for that factor, to get the clients to understand several areas in their portfolio that might need help. So I would like to ask you a question, Mr. Ricky, if you don't mind me. It's way a bit diverting for me, but in Indonesia, where you have such a young population coming up, and there is a huge shift I would see in the scene of insurance distributors, not just in Indonesia, but across Asia as well, where these pioneers, financial services consultants, agency leaders, they are now moving towards retirement. And a fresh breed of new consultants are rising up. What is your thought about that, and what can they do to sort of adapt that momentum and same spirit for the nobility of the insurance industry?
Yeah, I think these younger generations now need to look at how business was done in the past, learn from that, learn from the experiences. There's still always going to be an element of insurance business where you will have to have face-to-face contact and that engagement with the client, whether it's personal or it's a corporation. But then they have to balance and incorporate this new shift in digital integration and digital transformation, and to embrace the technologies that can support them going forward. Again, it's all about the mindset and the attitude of wanting to be sincere about helping clients solve their issues, solve their risk management problems. Maybe they have previous losses, or how they can mitigate, prevent that. I mean, in Indonesia, we have industries and companies that have really, really poor risk management and really bad housekeeping, for example, how they manage their factory floor shops, how they stock their goods, and how they manage all their processes. So this is where, as an insurance company or as a professional, an agent can add value also, if they're willing to learn and understand how the insurance business works, from procuring a customer to give them some risk advice, how to improve their risk location and getting the coverage they need. So it's that ability to integrate themselves and work with insurance companies, and avoiding this issue. I don't think it's just Indonesia, but in most Asian countries also it applies, where it's always about price, the cheapest premium, and discounting this and that. We'll try to get away from that, and try to propose the value, push the value that you're adding to them. Because I know a lot of companies, in my experience, they're willing to pay the premium you propose without even negotiating, if you have the right solution. So people always try to win a deal by saying, oh, well, I can give you an extra 10% discount. When you do that, you're devaluing yourself. You're making yourself look, sorry, but really cheap, that you're just a cheap agent, but you're not adding the expertise and the experience into the conversation to structure a solution. So for these new up and coming youngsters in the industry, you have to be patient, you have to be committed. There's no such thing as a quick win. People always try to think, oh, I'm going to be successful, it's going to happen overnight. So you need to build credibility and trust, learn from mentors, those players. I mean, you utilize the experience of these senior people who are looking at retirement, leverage off them, get the experience, the know-how, the tips and tricks of the trades, the do's and don'ts. That's how I learned. A textbook can teach you so much, a classroom can give you so much information, but it's in the field that you actually learn from the best. So that's how I've got by. Yeah.
So true, so true. And that works very well for your capacity as well. You are a trainer for the general insurance industry as well. So can you share a bit more about that? And again, linked to that, what is the scene in Indonesia and the insurance industry?
Yeah, that's right. I'm also a board member of the Indonesian Insurance Brokers Association. So that's the professional individuals. It's called APARI. And they have a professional and formal education program. They have 3 levels, from adjunct to expert and certified Indonesian insurance brokers. And I'm one of the tutors or the lecturers in some of the subjects there. The main one I teach is financial lines, trade credit, surety bonds, and money-related insurance. So it gives me a sense of satisfaction to be able to give back to the industry and coach these young insurance professionals, mostly they're all brokers, to become more professional and have the integrity and the work with ethical standards, to uphold the insurance industry. Insurance industry in Indonesia, I guess in the last 10 years has changed, especially in the broking side. Before, brokers were seen as negative people that just tried to sell things to you, but the insurance broking industry has now changed dramatically, and the view and the spotlight has been phenomenal, because we come with APARI and all the other associations within the industry help to uplift the image of the insurance industry in Indonesia. And this is reflected also in terms of the insurance market penetration. If you look at just how much insurance is bought, okay, if you're looking at Indonesia has 270 million plus population, yet the penetration of insurance purchasing is around 3%. So that's very low. It has grown since 2013. It was 1.96 in 2013. It went up to 2.77 in 2018, and now it's 3.2 something in 2021. So it just shows that it is growing, but not at the fast rate. And with the markets the size of 270 million people, that's a big opportunity for insurance companies, and opportunity for insurance companies to educate. And the best way to get understanding of insurance is to educate the people, and so that they understand that, insurance is important. Insurance should be a part of a lifestyle as well as a business style as well. And that's something that hasn't been filtered through. And I salute the government's initiative to always increase financial literacy, financial inclusion. And this is something that we as Indonesian insurance professionals need to keep going, because the benefits of insurance outweigh the cost. I mean, people sometimes say, I'm paying 10 million rupiah or $1,000 for insurance premium for my car, but why? I don't claim, so I'm losing $1,000. So that's that mindset. But you're actually saying, look, we don't want you to have an accident. We don't want you to lose your car. But that $1,000 means if something worst case scenario happened, somebody stole your car and you could never recover it, you'll get another car at the sum insured value, and you don't have to spend any money on a new car. So that's the benefit of insurance. We're trying to protect you at that point in time when a risk should happen. But it's that education, and a lot of the population is still the middle, low income earners, that if they were to spend $100 on insurance premium, they'd rather spend it on food. They would rather spend it on rent and education. So it's that challenge. So it's something that we need to work on in the next years to come.
That's very interesting, Mr. Ricky. And that draws me to a parallel that I've seen with other developing countries. When I speak to representatives in countries such as Cambodia and Myanmar, they have a very interesting view of how their recruitment of the insurance consultants is, or even the positioning of the insurance companies is. And correct me if I'm wrong, or any parallels that you can draw with Indonesia. There they look at uplifting the status of the distribution channel. So if someone is in the middle class, you're looking at how through the industry, with the good work that you could do, you could rise up to upper middle class and go through that channel. And in that process, they look at uplifting the community as well. You and your clients rise together. Now, if financial literacy is such an important thing in Indonesia, do you think that the companies as well as the practitioners there are also looking at that as a means to amplify the insurance industry?
Yeah, absolutely. It has to be done. This is one of the strategies that I mentioned earlier, is that, insurance companies are now, like where I'm working out at Rama Insurance, we're working with the local provincial banks to help support the local economy and the micro SMEs get bank support, whether it's small working capital loans or loans to finance purchase of products or raw material. And we as insurance companies help to support the insurance and the risk management of the goods that are being financed or the loan that's being financed through asset-based lending. So we also educate the customer or the borrower, the debtor, say, look, this is the importance of insurance. This is what happens in the policy if you have a claim. All these things that they would not have learned if we had not come into the picture. And then, of course, the proof of the pudding in insurance is when there's a claim. Whilst we don't like to see somebody get their factory burnt down or whatever, but it's that point in time that we then help the client say, look, I'm sorry about your loss, but we are going to cover the claim and we're going to help rebuild your warehouse again. So this is where then they see the benefit. It requires patience and time to educate, but the more proactive we go out there, and it's not about trying to target the high-end corporates anymore. I don't see that as going to be a short-term win, but the issue is now, how do we hit the middle low income earners, make them more educated and aware about risk management and how to protect their business, and allowing for insurance to have a role in help them grow their business as an investment rather than a cost.
Right. Amazing.
Yeah.
So that is one of the cool things that you're doing right now, because I know you have had such an amazing week this past week, and you were sharing to me about that as well. So can you tell me what amazing things you're doing in your current role, Mr. Ricky? You have the ability, you have the exponential resources to do it. And of course, the most important resource is time. And how do you then make best use of it when you're reaching out and doing these amazing things in your current capacity?
Yeah, it's all about managing priorities in your time, of course. You mentioned it correct there, and delegating the task. I mean, what we're doing now at Rama is we're also balancing our portfolio between retail, SME, and corporate business. So anything that's retail, we're all going to go digital. So integrating digital, embracing the technology. So whether it's working in cooperation with insurtech platform providers, we're also developing and have developed our own apps through our sister company. We have Insureka, which is a portal to buy insurance for your motor vehicle, and we have a digital apps for claims. You can do it now from your smartphone. So all these innovations we're trying to do so that we can focus more on the larger SME and corporates, and anything retail can be done through system and technology. That being said, though, we're also establishing strategic partnerships with other distribution channels like banks. Now, whilst we're not targeting the bigger banks, for us it's trying to get a bigger footprint outside of Jakarta, because you've got 32 provinces around Indonesia, all these cities and townships that need support. So if Rama can support these SMEs or micro SMEs develop, and we can support the literacy and the education, we understand that this will bring in business, and it'll give us that sense of satisfaction that, hey, penetration is starting to improve, rather than being concentrated in all the larger cities, which is very saturated. So that's our strategy going forward. And yeah, look, it's very rewarding. It's very nice to see that, we can make a change and have an impact on people's lives. It can be tiring. I won't doubt that, but just to be able to have an impact and share experiences with people, it's very rewarding.
That's really, really amazing, Mr. Ricky. I just want to ask you another question before we get on to sharing your thoughts and values for our community. And this is for a former advisor and practitioner as myself, and as a person who has gone through the insurance industry like you have. How important are your personal interests in matching it up with your profession? What is that balance? And how important, like for you, you said music brings a lot of value to you and to your quiet time. How can an individual bring that into his professional life as well, and use that to strive that balance between work and his personal capacity?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, yeah, you need that balance of what you like to do in your spare time when you have the spare time is to give you some sanity, bring you back down to earth, and really wind down and relax. I enjoy music. I have a guitar and a piano at home, so if I'm relaxing, I'll just play some music and sing with my family as well, just to relax and keep up the spirits. And funnily enough, a lot of my friends in the insurance industry in Indonesia also love to do karaoke and sing, and also are quite good musicians. So we sometimes like to jam, and that sort of brings the synergy and the bonding together. Watching a game of football on TV, it's a good way to relax and just, hey, this is the other side of the world, and things are happening as well. You do need that bit of downtime and to bring you back to a level of relaxation, so that it prepares you and energizes you for the next challenges ahead. I mean, you just can't work, even though I am a workaholic by by day-to-day standards, but you need to have that enjoyment and quality time, and spend that time with your family, your wife, and even your alone me time, just to sit down and just to relax on your own, just to have a think about, where you're going and what you want to do.
I think that's so important for the industry to hear, especially the young generation, because they are still in that route and journey to discover their destiny in this insurance industry. And there is so much thing that is left to their free will. They've got to manage both together, their free will and their destiny.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Mr. Ricky. And before we part, I would like to ask you to share your thoughts and values and some nuggets of wisdom for the insurance collective community as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my late father, before he passed away, one of the things he always said to me was, I'm not a wealthy man, but I have a wealth of knowledge. I gained that knowledge to make sure that I could provide the best future for my family, for my wife and kids. And he said the same thing. I pass it on to you. Keep learning. You don't have to always officially learn in a classroom, in university, but life is there to teach you a lot of things. Find mentors, find experts. And sometimes the best experience is on the job training, learning from mistakes. And if you do make a mistake, you fall down, it's about how quickly you can get back up, redeem yourself, and keep moving. I mean, if you look at one of the expertise or skills that I have is trade credit insurance. I've been doing that, for the last 15 years, and I struggled. I didn't get any clients in the first 2 years. They kept saying no. They didn't understand the product. They didn't understand how it works. I mean, insurance is already tough, let alone trade credit insurance, right? But when I understood how to pitch the position in terms of what the client needs, in terms of the benefits, it's an investment rather than a cost, then you start to see the response of the market. And this is something that I've learned over the years just by going out there and keep doing it. It's about consistency. It's about commitment and discipline. You just can't give up after one knockback, two knockbacks. I mean, as a sales guy, you're going to get more knockbacks and you're going to get yeses. But over time, as you develop your skills, your experience, credibility. Now, credibility can't be bought. Credibility comes with you doing something for somebody, and then they're giving you that reference and getting that word out in the street, say, hey, Ricky is this, he can do this for you, or the company he works for can do this for you. So it's building that credibility momentum to leverage of the future. And even in this day and age, look, I'm 47, I'm always still learning. I just got another certification from the Indonesian Board of Professional Certification on risk management. So it's something that I always look at, and I always say to the young generation, don't be content and satisfied with just a diploma or a degree that you get. You've got to get additional qualifications. You need to learn and train and share your experiences and get the experiences of other people and blend that into what you're trying to achieve. Not everything's going to be what you want, but everything's going to have to be filtered to what you need going forward. I mean, I've learned of so many gurus and so many experts in the industry the last 15 years, and I am who I am because of those people, and holding that principle from my father said, don't stop learning. And the more certificates and qualifications you have is going to hold you in good stead for the future. And people are going to say, wow, this guy knows what he's doing. He's got good references, and you can then share that on with other people in the future. And I really enjoy speaking to young kids and the upcoming generation about how to prepare themselves going forward, because, so that they can then get there faster, get there in a more efficient way. I mean, all of us all have our struggles. We all have our war stories, but that's what makes us who we are, and that makes us stronger. As they say, what doesn't kill you make you stronger, right? So, and this is where I am, and I enjoy every day of my career in the insurance industry in the last 16 years, and would never go back. So, yeah.
Amazing, Ricky. I absolutely see the passion that exuberates all of us. And I'm very, very certain that people who have viewed this session with you and me would have learned a lot about what it takes to be part of the insurance industry. And of course, definitely the passion that ignites the reason why we are in this business has been truly identified and exemplified by you. So I'm very, very grateful for this session, Mr. Ricky, and I'm really looking forward to more sessions with you.
Thank you for the opportunity, and wish everybody in the Insurance Collective community all the best, good health, and success to you all.
Thank you very much.